Right. Hello, everyone. Thank you so very much for joining this very last minute live. The reason why usually I give more notice for my live streams, but the reason that I didn't give much notice is I actually was planning on posting a video today for y'all, but technical difficulties and crazy things. No video today. And I was talking to my husband, ideas and all that stuff. And so bottom line, I decided to go ahead and do a live stream for those. And we're really just going to talk about these distribution fires, Azure Standard specifically, how they're going to affect us. So for those of you in the comments, I just request that you be nice and respectful because I'm sure we all have varying opinions about this. If you're wondering why I'm even talking about something like this, is because, especially in light of the fire that happened at Azure Standard, y'all know that I am a huge fan of Azure Standard. That's the main place that I'm getting all of my grains from. And so, it definitely was on my radar when I heard they had a fire, worried, concerned, slight panic, wondering if it was all destroyed. But thankfully, for those of you who do not know, a couple days ago, Azure Standard had a huge fire at their headquarters, and it completely burned their headquarters to the ground. Not all over the buildings. Thankfully, Azure Standard, because they're larger, they've grown. They have multiple buildings and warehouses, so it wasn't all of Azure Standard that had burned down. It was just their headquarters. And they have put out press releases. I have been unable to find their press releases on their website, but I have found them on Instagram. They did post them on Instagram. So just really quick update for those of you who don't know. So this was released April 19th. And feel free in the meantime, guys, I welcome you so much. Thanks for coming to the live stream. Feel free to ask any questions or comments in the chat. But again, be nice and respectful. So thankfully with Azure Standard, no one was harmed in the fire. It was just their headquarters and what is in their actual headquarters building that is affected is their pour facility. So all of their liquids, their vinegars, honeys, oils, those type of things, because generally they buy them in huge quantities and then they pour them in smaller containers themselves. They also produce, their own products. So anything that's a liquid that has possibly been suspended, that facility was destroyed, as well as their Cara products. So that was the press release that they posted on the 19th when it happened, that's what it affects. And then their most recent press release, you'll have to excuse me not looking at the camera, I'm looking at monitors. And I believe they posted this today or yesterday. I think it was yesterday, where they updated because there was an investigation in the fire, wondering what caused it. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But just an update is they actually have found a building that they can use for their pour facility. So hopefully the liquid products it'll only be for a short time, they may not be shipped or anything. So just keep that in mind. And again, the only place that I have seen these press releases on Instagram, and I have shared them as well on my YouTube community tab, if you're not aware of that. So when you're looking at my YouTube channel, you have the banner at the top, and underneath it, you have the tabs like home, videos, playlist, and then community. So any announcements and stuff, that's where I post it. And so I have posted these press releases that you can check out there as well. So that is the update of Azure. Now, why am I talking about the different fires of food distribution centers? Is because honestly, I didn't know about any other fires going on until I posted about Azure Standard having this fire. And then suddenly I was getting several comments, messages talking about other fires that have been happening recently in food distribution centers. And after about, the fifth or sixth comment and message that I'm receiving about this. I was like, I kind of want to look into this. So, okay. So let's talk about what's been going on. And this is something that it's not really hidden information what has been going on. And at this point, we may be choosing whether to put on our tinfoil hats or not. I'm just saying. So again, I have many opinions about this because we already know that food shortages right now are a concern, especially for grains because Russia, Ukraine, there were fires last year, there were droughts. Production hasn't been as high in the past couple years, all the things. And then you had the whole COVID craziness and things shut down. And, it's been a mess for the past couple of years. And so lately, a lot of people have been interested in grains and food shortages, and inflation is through the roof. And now we're suddenly hearing about all these fires. When I posted about Azure Standard, someone actually told me, hey, Barbara, fellow Floridian, hi. So when I posted about Azure Standard, one of my friends, I'm in the Gainesville area of Florida, for those who don't know. And one of my friends actually said, hey, are you aware of a local feed store that caught fire and burned to the ground just like a month ago? I'm like, no, this is a place that it's a feed and seed store. We've bought feed from them. We've bought seedling plants from them, a great local feed store. And it had a fire about a month ago, burned the building to the ground. I was like, oh, well, that's a big coincidence, that happened. And then other people started telling me about these. And so I've done a Google search, and all that I searched in Google was food distribution fire 2022. And I have to say, I was very surprised at the amount that has happened just in the past month. I mean, even like the LA Times reported on one. So it's not like these are off the wall, I mean, anybody can post things to the internet. Okay. So there are some wonderful things on the internet, and there's some really crazy things on the internet. And so I was really looking at this one being, all the way back in, March 16th, there was a massive fire at a Walmart fulfillment center, distribution center in Plainfield, Indiana. So, there was that. ATF was investigating. And then other things were happening, like March 31st in Texas. It was a company called Rio Fresh suffered a fire that severely damaged, they said, about 50 to 100 truckloads of onions were destroyed in the fire. And then there was another one, Shearer's Foods. They're a potato chip plant in Oregon, and they apparently had a boiler explosion, burned. So again, fire. And then Maricopa Food Pantry in Arizona, they lost about 50,000 pounds worth of food that caused a fire. Thankfully, again, no one, as far as I have seen, has been harmed in these fires, which that ultimately is what matters, is no lives have been lost. But that was another one that's happened March 28th, and then April 18th. In Idaho, Gem State Processing Plant, an airplane crashed into the processing plant. Unfortunately, this was a fatality. The pilot did not survive, and many prayers go out to that family, because regardless of what you think about all of this, any death is a terrible, terrible loss. And so my prayers definitely go out to that pilot. But, that happened. And so that did cause a fire when the plane crashed into that processing plant. They are a potato, I'm assuming Idaho, about, it was a potato processing plant. And then Taylor Farms on April 13th, which is a major food, California processing plant in California. It burned almost completely to the ground, and about 85 to 95% of the building is a loss. The facility employed about 1,000 people. They have had to lay off people. Now this was, they actually had ammonia held on site, and a lot of that caught on fire from what it looks like. And they are a major player in the food supply chain for both Canada and the United States. So, yeah, like they stated that it was recognized by Walmart as its 2022 Food Supplier of the Year in March. And then in April, huge fire. So just a lot of fires going on. I don't know if any of y'all have seen the movie Series of Unfortunate Events, but there were some crazy fires going on there too. As soon as I heard about all this, I was like, oh no, someone find Count Olaf. Someone's putting things on fire. Maybe it's a big coincidence. Allow me to place my tinfoil hat on for a bit. So I don't know, y'all, but here's what I do know. Oh, before I do that. So the thing with Azure that definitely got my eyebrows raised is the reason the fire marshal stated what caused the fire. And I'm going to read this directly from Azure Standard's press release that they put out. And they stated that the this is the Oregon Office of the State Fire Marshal. They completed the investigation. And the fire marshal states the fire started in a tote of rolled corn, which was being temporarily stored in a cooler. So if you do not know, a tote is like a huge container. I think they usually range around like 2,000 pounds of whatever's in that tote. So it's a huge container, and rolled corn is whole corn that has been rolled. So basically think flattened whole corn. It's predominantly used for animal feed. So that was a question I received. What is rolled corn? That's what that is. And they had a huge tote of it that they put in a cooler, temporarily storing it in a cooler in their headquarters. Now, let us remember that Azure Standard has warehouses full of grains and corn and wheat. But instead, it was one single tote that was in a cooler, and they stated, quote, there are two ways that the fire may have started. Because of the high moisture content of the corn, it could have started smoldering on its own and self-combusted. I'm sorry. Yeah. Or the tote or corn dust could have come in close contact to a nearby electrical outlet, shorted the electrical wiring, and sparked the tote of corn. So, first of all, I have been storing grains for a while, and I've never had my corn spontaneously combust, and mine is not in a cooler. So for those of you who have corn in buckets, do not panic. So, yeah, I do know that it does have ethanol in it. Emerald Eyes just said that. So, of course, corn, people make it into this thing called moonshine here in the South. So I am aware of that, but in a cooler. Again, I'm not a scientist. I'm not a fire marshal, but that just kind of made me raise my eyebrows. Also, I've never really known in a cooler to have electrical outlets in a cooler. Maybe they do. I do not know. But I have to say, the reason for that fire kind of raised my eyebrows. I can understand, you have ammonia being stored, and, that's just a little bit of spark, and that can cause fire in these other places, or, a plane crashed into the building, those kind of things I can understand. But I have to say that this one just sounds a little wonky to me. We can agree or disagree. I know many people out there, I believe I saw something where Tucker Carlson had talked about this, I think yesterday, talking about a lot of the industrial accidents. I personally don't watch Tucker Carlson. We don't have a TV. So I'm not aware of that, but I do believe he talked about it yesterday. And he stated, oh, look, a lot of industrial facilities are having a lot of accidents, just as the president is announcing talking about food shortages. So I'm going to let you kind of fill in the blanks here. Again, I'm just reporting on the things that are going on. So again, why am I talking about this? Okay, so let's look at some of the comments, because I do see some of the comments. So one thing is, I did see that someone had stated that, like I said, corn has ethanol in it and can spontaneously combust. We have someone else. Okay, so Stacy Cole says, my husband works in a corn processing plant. He says those are both very legitimate starts of fires. Okay, cool. Good to know. Again, I have no experience being in a processing plant. I do store grains on my own. I just I think it's weird that it happened in a cooler because I would think being colder wouldn't really be an issue. But that is one thing that Stacy Cole does state. Also, let me see here. Savannah V, it says flour mills have combusted throughout its processing history. And then let me see here. Okay, corn fires are a thing. I'm in Iowa. They can start in bins, so you have to watch them carefully. I think that's the same. Stacey. Yep. So that's still Stacy. So Stacy, you look like you know more about corn and been around it a lot more than me. But again, I know a lot of people had raised eyebrows about that, so I do appreciate that information. So what are we going to do about this? What do we do when we start hearing things like this? And whether you think that it's legitimate or not, if you think it's planned, someone is, conspiracy, conspiring about this, or if you think that it's just purely coincidental, first of all, don't panic. Disasters are going to happen. And as Bible believing Christians, I know, and I have the faith and trust that none of this was a surprise to the Lord. He knows exactly what's going on. None of this is a surprise. He's not surprised. And I know that he has promised us that if we walk with him, just like he feeds the sparrows, he's going to feed us as well. So with that being said, let's also be smart about this. I do think it is always a good idea to be prepared, to stock up on grains. I am always preaching about having a good stockpile of grains. And once again, for those who do not know, if you do not know how much grains that you should get for your family for a certain amount of time, I do have a grain calculator that is completely free for you guys. It's in the description box below, and I will probably be updating the subscription or the description box down below as well after this. So with this, grab that free grain calculator, and that's going to help you calculate how much grains that you should have on hand for your family for however long of a period you're wanting to stock up. So again, 1, do not fear. God is in control. 2, go ahead and get you some more grains. I know that we're having difficulty right now finding grains, but in case of those of you who may have missed this announcement, a few weeks ago, I know Azure Standard had come out with a video talking about grains, especially wheat, and they did state that they have wheat, but they are unable to package it and get it out the doors fast enough for the amount of orders. So many people are ordering wheat and grains, and it seems like they don't have it. Well, they have it, but they're not able to package it up as fast as the orders are coming in. Okay, so let's look at the comments again. All right. Okay, so we have some people saying 30 plus food distribution and or fertilizer plants burned in the last 6 to 9 months in USA. Ugh. And then let's see, Dave Leach has said a Kansas wheat/grain facility burned down just recently as well. Wow. Okay, so please research how much of our farmland has and is being bought up by BG. This is all part of the plan. I'm not sure who BG is, so if you want to let us know, that's fine. But I do know that with Azure Standard, they've already found another facility to help with their poor facility. That's only about 8 miles away. So they should be getting that back up and running again. So again, just keep ordering from Azure. Other places that have grains, now they may be, I've noticed a lot more places are either starting to be sold out or they're at least limiting the quantity, and that's Bread Becker's. Pleasant Hill Grains is another one. I have a link for them down below as well. Okay, I'm drawing a blank. So Azure Standard, Pleasant Hill Grain. Then there's the Palouse brand, Palouse. If you've ordered from Amazon, Bill Gates, that's who BG is. Thank you. If you've ordered from Amazon, you have most likely ordered the Palouse brand of grains. And so just real quick, as far as ordering grains, if you're not able to get them from Azure, I do know ancient grains are getting a little hard to get. I know last time I could not get my einkorn. I haven't been able to get that for a while. I'm hoping I can get it for this one. Yes, Barba Callaghan said she just placed an order with Bread Beckers. They're out of hard white. I did notice that as well. I think Azure has it back in stock. So again, you may just not be able to get the specific grains right now, but they are there. And just remember that with grains, they store for a long time. They're easy to store. You can put them in a shed. You can leave them in your house, in a garage. You know, you don't have to can them. You don't even have to freeze wheat. Remember, you do freeze your rice and corn products before storing, but you do not have to freeze your wheat unless you want to. It's not going to hurt it. And I have a video all about how to store your grains down below. But that's the thing with that. So just keep our eyes out. Don't panic. Do not fear, but be smart. And there's a way that we can do this and be smart and not lose our heads. Let us not run around like chickens with our heads cut off. So let's just all keep that in mind. It doesn't hurt. And I hope this video was helpful, especially updating you guys about Azure. I'm going to try to keep y'all updated with these things. If I do notice that anything is affecting, especially grains, I'm hoping that this will be the first place that you will hear it. If y'all have any information, if you hear about anything concerning grains that, you know, our community needs to know about, then please let me know. You can get a hold of me on Instagram. So be sure to follow me over there at Grains and Grit. And you can always message me there. And you can comment on this video. I'm here for you guys, and I want to help you out now, And in the meantime, if y'all have any questions, go ahead and ask them. I know the chat has been going off crazy here. So, okay. Oh, all right. So I do have some people saying like Amazon, buying wheat on Amazon is extremely expensive, which just reminded me of something else. As far as the price of grains, whether to know like this is absolutely stupid to be paying for, I'm not paying it. Do you know that Azure Standard is the best price for grains that I've seen, especially if you're ordering it through a drop, because that's really going to lower shipping. The other place is Bread Beckers, ordering it through their co-op, which only occurs every quarter. And they are only doing co-ops more in the southeastern United States. So if you're not in, you know, the best part of the country, though, that's a disadvantage. Because Bread Beckers doesn't have a co-op. So they do it every quarter. And because you order through the co-op and they drop it, the shipping is lower as well. Everywhere else, like Pleasant Hill Grains, Palouse brand, places like that, where you're going to see much higher prices for the grains, they are usually throwing in shipping. Shipping is free, which usually means it looks to me that they're just rolling it into the price of the grains that you were ordering. So that is something to consider. Okay, so let me see. So again, if y'all know of any great deals that you've had, the problem with that is anytime I share a great deal, it then kind of gets bought out pretty quickly. Okay, so let me see if there are any other questions. Let me know, but that's pretty much all that I wanted to cover. Oh, before I sign off, I just want to say a huge thank you, because today we actually reached 5,000 subscribers here on YouTube, and we are very, very close to 1,000 subscribers on Instagram. So that is awesome. Thank you so very much for all of you who have subscribed, for all of you who stay around for this channel, who ask the great questions, who leave wonderful comments. I really, really appreciate it. So again, if you have any questions or comments, feel free to list them even after this video is no longer live. You can still comment below. And I really appreciate for y'all being here with me. And I hope that y'all have a wonderful weekend and a wonderful evening. And hopefully I'll see you next week. Bye.